On this episode of RevHang,
I have never seen someone send it with absolute disregard for the death that was impending, like Colton Herta did.
He just genetically has that dog in him.
Sergio Perez is absolutely on a mission to lose his seat.
If Ricardo gets a drive ahead of Lawson, I'm going to throw my phone at a concrete wall.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of RevHang. I am Nathan, as always, and alongside me is my good friend and co-host, Ben Bagley. Who else could it be? How's it going, Ben?
That's going pretty good, and sometimes it is somebody else. It hasn't had to be somebody else recently, which is nice. But yeah, had an early morning this morning, and I'm ready to stay up late talking about racing.
Love it. I think it's been someone else like twice.
Yeah, probably.
And it was back to back because you were at your Formula student trip in Michigan. Yeah.
Good times.
You missed us talking about racing to actually go do racing.
Well, to go do tech inspection, actually. There was not much racing that happened to that trip.
I do remember this, yes.
Yeah. But
unfortunate.
Rose-tinted glasses seems a lot more fun now than it was at the time. Being in Michigan and 100-degree weather with COVID is not super ideal.
True. You did get a great road trip out of it, though, I bet.
The road trip was actually when I got COVID. So, no, the road trip was actually the worst part for me.
Okay,
It should have been the best, but...
Disregard.
It's okay.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
It's okay. Rose-tinted glasses.
Okay,
I yearned for the days when I had COVID driving 40 hours to get home.
Don't we all?
Something for our audience to answer, I guess.
Well, this is not a horrible past history podcast. There are actually a lot of podcasts that do revolve around that, so we'll let you go find those on your own. This is a racing podcast, though. Don't go into any other one of those, because there's also a few of those, but this one's the best. It's not even debatable.
Yeah. I haven't heard of any others.
We have won the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Matt, and this is Tommy. Oh, wait, no, I can't. Anyway, let's move into some racing with some paddock news first. Kevin Magnussen last week got a race ban after accumulating 12 penalty points over the course of the last 12 months. So he was replaced by Ollie Behrman at Haas for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Behrman will be racing at Haas next year alongside Esteban Ocon. This is some wild, silly season stuff right here.
I bet Haas wishes that Behrman could start now instead of just one race.
Yeah, the guy was like already faster than Hulkenberg most of the time.
Yeah.
It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, we had a couple rookies that came in pretty hot this race.
The rookies are very exciting. I'm going to have 3, if not possibly 4. No. We're going to have 4, if not 5. No, wait. No, because Colapinto didn't get the seat. He's just here for the rest of the season. So.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Behrman, Antonelli, and Jack Doohan are confirmed already for next season. Colapinto is in the running for a seat at Sauber after his performances recently.
And Lawson, according to Helmut Marko, potentially has a seat in 2025, but we don't know where.
Lawson
we don't know if Marko is just lying.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to fill that last spot at Sauber. It's either going to be Colapinto, which seems likely based on how he's been driving, which has been, spoiler alert, insane. Or could be Teo Porcher, I know is on their short list, which I hope that guy gets a seat because he killed it in IndyCar.
Give that guy a break.
Yeah, that guy's done everything right. But granted, so has Lawson. So, but, I mean, at the same time, De Vries did everything right last season, so you never know. You never know what you're going to get. So, anyway, point is, there's going to be a lot of rookies on the grid next year, and so far from what we've seen, they are no slouches.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, indeed. We're getting, finally, the next generation's kind of getting ushered in. I say finally, but, I mean, last time this happened was like 2019, when we got Norris and Albon and Russell all in the same year, and then like Leclerc the year before that, and so yeah, got a couple years here where bringing new people in, which is good for the sport, I think, rather
I
than
remember
just playing.
even when Yuki Tsunoda was pretty exciting to see come on. He scored points in his first race, and everybody's like, man, this guy is the real deal.
This guy is the next Verstappen, and then he, he wasn't.
He's actually just kind of angry.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Santino Ferrucci has been re-signed at AJ Foot Racing for next season, and Felix Rosenqvist was re-signed to Meyer Shank for next season. I'm sure there are more that I have missed, but there are 30 plus IndyCar drivers, and I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones that I remember. But there's actually a lot of seats still open in IndyCar, and I know there are rumors that if Valtteri Bottas does not get re-signed at Sauber, he is looking to jump to IndyCar, and I think that would be very exciting.
Replace Ericsson with Bottas. Do it. That'd be so funny.
There's so many other drivers that are so much better candidates to replace. Like, Jack Harvey is still in IndyCar.
That is absolutely insane to me. But could you really picture Valtteri Bottas going to Dale Coyne Racing
I
to
don't know
race
where he would go.
alongside legends like Catherine Legg?
I don't know, man. I don't know where he would go. I think there's a spot open at Hunko Sollinger, so he could be teammates with Grosjean. That would be pretty
Oh
wild.
my god.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think demeanor-wise, he'd be perfect at Chip Ganassi.
I think so. Chip Ganassi, maybe Ed Carpenter. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he'll just fit into IndyCar really well. I mean, he's an
Yeah.
honorary American already, and he spends all of his free time in Colorado, so I think he's
He
gonna
could
love
be
it
the third Penske boy when Will Power inevitably retires.
whenever that happens. I'm surprised Scott Dixon still hasn't retired.
It's because he keeps on racking up the points.
This is true, but he has been getting further and further from championships in the last few years, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But anyway, speaking of IndyCar, let's go into the final IndyCar race of the season at Nashville Superspeedway. Fun fact, Ben and I thought that this was going to be the street track like it has been for the last several years. So that is what our predictions are based on this this week.
Yep. We still got some points there, but you'll see.
Yes, you will see. It was not at the street track. It was at, well, Nashville Superspeedway, a big oval. Shocker. So let's go into the top 10 in qualifying to give you context. It was Kyle Kirkwood on pole position, followed by Newgarden and Rosenqvist. Fourth and fifth were Power and Ferrucci. 6 through 10 were Malukas, Daly, O'Ward, Lundqvist, and Herta. Moving into the race, Kirkwood led for the first stage of the race in a battle with Newgarden. Will Power had to pit on lap 13 due to a loose seatbelt. This ended his championship hopes in a very tragic way, I might add.
Just crazy.
For his championship to end like that is just heartbreaking. Anyway, Rosenqvist blew a tire early on and went into the wall, causing a caution. Then on the restart, Newgarden led for the second stage of the race in a tight battle with Herta. Rossi led for a few laps after that until Ericsson went into the wall on lap 126. O'Ward went for a fuel-saving strategy, cycling to the front with 60 laps to go. Looked like he was poised to take it until Herta passed him for the race lead with 5 laps to go with an absolutely incredible pass. Never quite seen anything like it on an oval. But we'll talk about that later. All right. Results of the race. First place was Colton Herta, followed by O'Ward and Newgarden. Fourth and fifth were Kirkwood and McLaughlin. 6 through 10 were Ferrucci, Armstrong, Lundqvist, Malukas, and Daly. 11 through 15 were Palou, VK, Harvey, Rasmussen, and Rossi. 16 through 20 we had Grosjean, Dixon, Siegel, Lundgaard, and Stingray Robb. This might have been Stingray Robb's last race. We will see. 21 through 25, we had Fittipaldi, Simpson, Rahal, Power, and Ericsson. And then 26 through 27 were Catherine Legg and Felix Rosenqvist. All right. So that was the last race of the season, as previously stated. Alex Palou ended up winning the IndyCar Championship in 2024. Congratulations to him.
Again,
again.
bro just cannot stop winning.
Third time in 4 years. Pretty nuts. Um, Colton Herta finished P2 in the championship, quite a ways back from Palou, but still, it is a second place in the IndyCar series, which brings him ever so close to a super license qualification.
Herta bros
Now,
rise up.
yes, I think if he finishes in the top 5 next season, he will qualify for a super license and can then go to F1. Should Andretti join and decide that they want him, which I don't know who else they would choose other than maybe Joseph Newgarden, who I think has lost his super license eligibility by this point.
Really?
So, Colton Herta and Alex Palou are probably the only two that are anywhere close. Maybe
That
Scott
would
McLaughlin.
honestly be kind of a solid driver pairing.
It really would.
You get like
Scott
the
McLaughlin's pretty
measured
close too.
yeah, McLaughlin would be good, but Palou's like the consistent, and then you have Herta who's just kind of insane sometimes.
He's the Max Verstappen of IndyCar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or let's see, he's the 2016 through 2020 Max Verstappen of IndyCar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Alex Palou is the 2021 through 2024 and 2023 and a half Max Verstappen of IndyCar. But yeah, Palou is just super consistent, like to an insane degree. So, I mean, that's what wins IndyCar championships. So that's why he's been the best.
Yep.
All right, let's go through these standings for the final time this season until the last episode of the season. In first place, winning the championship, was Alex Palou, followed by Colton Herta and Scott McLaughlin. Fourth and fifth were Will Power and Pato O'Ward. 6 through 10 were Dixon, Kirkwood, Newgarden, Ferrucci, and Rossi. 11 through 15, we had Lundgaard, Rosenqvist, BK, Armstrong, and Ericsson. 16 through 20, we had Lundqvist, Grosjean, Rahal, Fittipaldi, Robb. 21 through 25, Simpson, Rasmussen, Siegel, Malukas, and Harvey. 26 through 30, Daly, Canapino, Porcher, Legg, and Blomqvist. 31 through 35, Sowery, Carpenter, Ilott, Giotto, and Castro Neves. 36 through 40, Larson, Sato, Vadier, Vips, and Braun. And 41 through 43, Mikael Ray, Hunter Ray, and Marco Andretti. 43 individuals participated in this IndyCar season. Yeah, pretty nuts. A lot of these drivers were just one-offs in the 500, towards the bottom of the standings, obviously. But yeah, that is IndyCar for the season. It was a pretty solid season, I would say. I think last year was a little better, but we got some award wins, which made me happy. I think he ended up winning 3 races. And then Colton Herta won a couple. Yeah, his luck turned around a little bit this season, so that was good. Grosjean finished 17th in the championship. Not the best showing from him this year.
There's no way he gets his super license this year.
No, probably not. I
Him
can't.
and Stingray Rob probably will have to go another season at least.
Wouldn't it be nuts if Sauber brought in Roman Grosjean? It won't happen.
It won't.
Anyway.
No. But it's funny to think about.
Indeed. All right. Formula One Azerbaijan Grand Prix, super late in the year compared to when it usually is. All right, qualifying top 10. We had Leclerc on pole position, followed by Piastri and Sainz. Fourth and fifth were Perez and Russell. 6 through 10, we had Verstappen, Alonso, Colapinto, Albon, and Behrman. Franco Colapinto in his second race outqualified Alex Albon after Albon outqualified Sargent every single time. Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colapinto.
Bad time to be an America boy. Bad time to be an American boy.
Yes, sad American noises. Yeah, Colapinto absolutely killed it this whole weekend. He was so fast. And then Behrman qualified 10th ahead of Hulkenberg. So the rookies making the vets look bad. Even though I wouldn't say Albon looked bad. I mean, Albon he was in the top 10 in qualifying, which is a solid performance for him.
Yeah, Colapinto just had a crazy qualifying stint.
Indeed. Notably, Lando Norris ended up starting the race 15th after having a incident in Q1. He saw a red or a yellow flag, which may or may not have been a yellow flag. The world will never know.
It's like Schrodinger's yellow flag.
Yeah. Um, anyway, he had to lift on his last lap, and he didn't make it out of Q1. Long story short. So we started 15th. It was 17th he qualified, but Hamilton and Ocon took engine penalties and started at the back. All right. Moving into the race, Leclerc maintained the lead on the start. Norris quickly cut through the field at the beginning. Norris then blocked Perez from undercutting Piastri on lap 16, pulling a Perez on Perez. I didn't even think about that till just now, but he did to Perez what Perez did to Hamilton in 2021. Absolute legend.
He defends like a
Anyway.
lion.
He did, unlike Esteban Ocon. Okay. Piastri hunted down Leclerc until lap 20 when he absolutely sent it down the inside of turn 1 and passed him for the lead with an incredible dive bomb. I don't know what it is
the
with
course of history.
I don't know what it is with Australians and being the last of the late breakers, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Piastri held off attacks from Leclerc for the next 20 or so laps. It was actually quite the dogfight at the front, but Leclerc was never able to get past. Norris passed Verstappen for P6 on lap 49. Sainz passed Perez on lap 50, and then they collided after turn 2, causing a virtual safety car, and the race ended under VSC conditions. So that brings us to the results. Oscar Piastri won the race, followed by Leclerc and Russell on the podium. 4th and 5th were Norris and Verstappen. 6 through 10 were Alonso, Albon, Colapinto, Hamilton, and Behrman. 11 through 15 were Hülkenberg, Gasly, Ricciardo, Zhou, and Ocon. And then 16th, rounding off the finishers, was Bottas. And then our 4 DNFs were Perez, Sainz, Stroll, and Tsunoda.
Zhou got scarily close there to keeping you safe from the hot sauce.
Yeah.
Only four places away, and you would have been out of the hot sauce zone.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. I was thinking about that last night, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to the end of the season. I need Valtteri Bottas to come in the clutch at Abu Dhabi and just pull out a P10 in the last race.
Could you imagine?
I would be so happy, and you would never hear the end of it.
Scores points in the worst car on the grid on his last race of the season. Leaves.
Yeah. That would
like
be
the inverse Kimi Räikkönen.
That'd be really funny. All right. So, Lando Norris had an amazing comeback drive. He started 15th and finished 4th. Just completely perfect. Never put a foot wrong. Finished 4th after driving slowly for a lap to hold up Perez. Still managed to catch up to Verstappen. If Lando actually qualified like he was supposed to, he probably would have won the race without any problems. So great race from Norris, great damage limitation, not even damage limitation because he finished ahead of Verstappen. So technically it's a net positive, gaining 3 points on Verstappen in the championship. There are 7 races left and he trails Verstappen by 59 points. So it's like an average of 8.5-ish points per race.
Which is entirely possible.
It is possible. He has to win the majority of them, I would say. But if he wins one and Verstappen happens to DNF that race, that blows the championship wide open. Massively. Plus, there are 3 sprint races left and fastest lap points. So it's very possible that Norris could still win the championship, but if he DNFs a race, I think it's over.
Yeah.
It's very close. If he wins the championship, I think it will be within 10 points. And that's really sad because of what happened in Hungary. If
Oh
Norris
yeah,
loses by less than 7 points, then McLaren's mess
there's
up
gonna
in
be
Hungary will cost
even
him the
more egg on their
championship.
face. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are going to talk about that if Lando just barely loses.
No, but they have papaya rules now. It's okay.
Yeah. Um, if basically if Norris doesn't win the championship, there has been so many things this season that I think it's literally just because McLaren threw it away.
Yeah. McLaren is
Um,
not ready to be a championship winning team again.
no, they are the new Ferrari.
So true.
Um, but anyway, so Red Bull, on the other hand, had a nightmare of a race with Verstappen struggling for the entire weekend. He has struggled for the last like 8 weekends. Um, Not having a good time in that Red Bull. It seems to be getting worse every week. I don't know how that's possible, but it seems like from what Verstappen's radio has been saying, like it's getting less and less drivable.
He's very
And
much overdriving the car at this point.
I think so.
Like the ceiling of the car is just dropped.
I think that's what it is. And they're going to Singapore next, which is notoriously not a or not a Red Bull track, and also one of the bumpier and I mean it's a street track, so it's streets. It's not like it's a racetrack. Um,
Not a great place for Max JP. My rear end is gone. Verstappen
yeah, the
to
guy
go
that
racing.
can't handle bumps right now. He's literally three on three wheels around half the track because
It's like
his
the new Bono, my tires are gone. It's like JP. My rear end just has no grip.
yeah,
My rear end is so unsettled.
exactly.
JP, I can't turn. Everything is bad.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but I don't think Verstappen is going to do too well in Singapore. And I don't think Perez will either, but we'll get to that. All right. We're not done with Red Bull yet. Perez was on pace to take second, maybe third. Well, third for sure, maybe second in in the race. Well, no, fourth for sure, maybe third, possibly second. We'll say that. Um, so he was on pace for good points. He was going to finish ahead of Verstappen for the first time in his life. Not really, but it feels like it. Um, and then he just decided to get into a tussle with Carlos Sainz and send them both into the wall.
It's like the
Um,
equivalent of a distracted driver like drifting into the other lane. Perez
yeah,
got like a text or something like that, just slowly drifted in.
yeah. Well, actually, it was Sainz that drifted over more, but Perez like had so much room to the left,
And so much
and
line of sight. That was
yeah,
the thing for me.
that's the thing is like Perez could clearly see Sainz, and Sainz. I mean, he was in Sainz's blind spot, so Sainz like knew he was there, but didn't know exactly where he was. And so he drifted over. It was so slight. It was the ever so slightest drift to the left, and they drifted into each other. But Perez should have moved over without a doubt.
Yeah.
Um,
I will maintain to my dying breath that was more on Perez than Sainz.
yeah, it was ruled a racing incident after the fact by the stewards, which I think is probably fair.
Yeah.
A lot of people put the blame on Perez, which, I mean, if it has to be someone's fault, probably Perez. More so. I think it was pretty 50-50 though, so racing incident seems fair to me.
Yeah. Seeing the onboard from Sainz is kind of funny though. Like once he saw that he was okay, he was just sitting in his car like, what happened?
Yeah,
Guys, what happened? I
yeah.
don't know what happened.
Sainz had no idea what happened.
Because from his point of view, his car just turned into the wall.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so moving on, Piastri is driving like a 10-year veteran right now. He is so cool, calm, and collected, and not afraid to send it. He never gets heated in the car. He never puts a foot wrong. Um,
Honestly, I feel like he's kind of driving like Scott Dixon.
a little bit, yeah.
Like
I'm sure
Scott
they
Dixon
probably
in
know
his
each other.
prime. Yeah. Just like
But
that cool, collected, like just turning in lap after lap. No problems.
yeah, well, his like mentor is Mark Webber, who had that kind of same thing when
Yeah.
he was at Red Bull. Um, so that's probably a lot of where he gets it from, and I think a lot of it is just his genetics and upbringing. He just has such a cool head.
He just genetically has that dog in him.
Yeah, something like that. uh, So yeah, Piastri's killing it right now. He's won 2 races, on par with Lando Norris, and he is actually catching Norris in the championship relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It might get kind of spicy at McLaren if Piastri starts outperforming Norris.
No, but they have
Um,
papaya rules. It's okay.
yeah, I know, Ben. So we talked about Colapinto earlier. He is absolutely killing it for his second race. He's making Sargent look really bad, um, which probably isn't the highest bar, but whatever.
For us Americans, it means a lot.
It does. It does. Sad bald eagle noises.
Yeah, we have good race car drivers. They just aren't there right now. They're on
Yeah.
their way. They're driving there right now.
Yeah. Colton Herta is still trying to get that super license. Then we'll have one.
Alex Palou wants to win his 5th IndyCar championship.
Well, Plo is also Spanish, but that's beside the point. Um,
God damn it! Why did I?
I don't know,
I don't know
Ben.
what I was thinking. I don't know. If you're an IndyCar, you're American. That's just where my brain goes to. Except for
That
Romain
is
Grosjean.
facts. All right. Ollie Behrman is British, not American, and he has a 100% point scoring record in Formula One. One of them was in a
Outscores
Ferrari.
K-Mag.
Yes, one of them was in a Ferrari. One of them was in a Haas, and he scored in both races. Pretty good stuff. And then finally, our last point here is that Sergio Perez is absolutely on a mission to lose his seat.
Bro does not want it. Bro had it in the palm of his hand. He could have taken home a podium finish when Verstappen was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and
Just
no,
threw it all away.
yeah, indeed. So not great. I mean, they said that they were gonna keep him for the last half of the season because this is when all of his good tracks were. Uh, and the 2 tracks specifically that we're talking about were Baku and Singapore. So I think he's got one more shot, and then after that, things
We
are gonna
don't need
pop
you
off.
anymore.
And then Helmut Marko said that Liam Lawson's future will be determined after Singapore, and so I think with how complicated everything is, that Liam Lawson's future could be determined by how Perez does next week. Based on, I don't think he's going to get the Red Bull seat, but I think they're trying to determine who's going to get the Red Bull seat right now. It could be Yuki Tsunoda, it could be Daniel Ricciardo, which seems very unlikely at this
There's
point.
no way.
And I've also heard rumors that Isaac Hadjar might just be brought up and put in the Red Bull.
That's so weird.
If they put Hadjar in the Red Bull after Lawson has already driven an F1 for like 3 or 4 races, dude, Lawson's like getting the short end of the stick on everything all the time.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate, but such is racing.
If Ricardo gets a drive ahead of Lawson, I'm going to throw my phone at a concrete wall.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Ben.
Okay.
Get an OtterBox.
I'll just use one of my other phones.
Okay, fair. I've got an old one too.
Yeah, I've got 3. So I can choose which one.
It's a weird flex, but okay, Ben.
That's just what happens.
Alrighty,
I'm
let's get
contract
through.
free. I don't need
Contract
Verizon
free.
to finance my phone for me. I just buy it straight out.
There you go.
Go into debt for that. Personal debt,
Adulting, baby.
not Verizon debt.
Yeah, you hate that Verizon debt. All right, let's go into the standings real quick. Max Verstappen still in first place, followed by Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Then 4th and 5th are Piastri and Sainz. 6th and 7th are Hamilton and Russell. Then 8th through 10th are Perez, Alonso, and Stroll. Then 10th through 15th, or 11th through 15 are Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Albon, Ricciardo, and Gasly. 16 through 20 are Behrman, Magnussen, Ocon, Colapinto, and Zhou. And 21 and 22 are Sargent and Bottas. Shockingly, Bottas is still behind Logan Sargent.
That's so insane.
Yeah. So Zhou, Sargent, and Bottas still have yet to score points. Sargent will definitely not. At this
Bottas
point,
still has a chance though.
Bottas can save me from the hot sauce. All right. Let's go through the constructors because now we have some changes. In first place in the Constructors' Championship for the first time in probably 15 years or more, we have McLaren with 476 points, followed by Red Bull with 456 points. So McLaren has a 20-point lead in the championship now. And then Ferrari is close behind at 425, so they're only 30 points behind Red Bull now, 31. Red Bull could very well finish third in the championship. Fourth and fifth are Mercedes and Aston Martin. 6 through 10 are RB, Haas, Williams, Alpine, and Sauber. Williams did jump Alpine this week, so they are now in 8th place. All right. Pit Stop Championship. In first place with a time of 2.32 seconds, not a lot of fast pit stops this week, is Valtteri Bottas with Sauber. I remember at the beginning of the year when they could not get sub 4 seconds.
Those are the days.
Those were the days. Now Bottas is topping the timing cheats. All right. Second and third are Piastri and Russell. Fourth and fifth are Zhou and Albon. So we got 2 Saubers in the top 5. 6 through 10, rounding off the points finishers are Leclerc, Norris, Alonso, Tsunoda, and Perez. All right. Standings have not changed that much, and team or driver. Overtake of the week. This is controversial. This did not go to the one that everyone probably thought it was going to go to. Ben, did you watch the IndyCar race?
I watched the extended highlights, which is pretty much the same thing for oval races.
So you know the move I'm talking about.
It was wild.
I gave this overtake of the week not to Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc, even though that is a probably tie for first place. But I never give the overtake to oval races, which is why I did this time, which it probably deserves it anyway. Colton Herta gets this one for his overtake on Pato O'Ward in Nashville. I have never seen someone send it with absolute disregard for the death that was impending, like Colton Herta did. If you have a chance, go watch it. Just like Google the Colton Herta overtake Nashville, and it'll probably come up. There was a backmarker car who was on the bottom lane going through turn 2. Pato O'Ward is in the lead of the race, followed close behind by Colton Herta. O'Ward is forced to go to the high side to pass the lapped car. As he goes around the lap car fades up the track just ever so slightly. Colton Herta made a decision to dive down the inside of that car before there was even room to get through. He sent it before there was even space. And the space was miraculously there with milliseconds to go. And Colton Herta went down the inside of the car, getting a much better run down the back straight than O'Ward, and he was able to get alongside O'Ward on the inside line and take the position in the next corner. That is the gutsiest oval overtake I think I have ever seen.
It was like the movie magic, like Need for Speed slow motion, Ultra Instinct pass.
It really was. It was something else.
Brother manifested the space.
Yeah.
He
used the force to move the car over.
He heard the quote about going for a gap if it's there. He was like, what if I go for a gap
that might be there?
Schrodinger's gap.
It might
you don't
be there
know if there's going to be a gap until you go for it.
Until you go for it. Yeah. We create our own gaps here. Anyway, all right. Let's go into our predictions. Last week, or the Nashville Grand Prix, pole position, what'd you say, Ben?
I had Lundqvist for this.
I had Kirkwood, and it was Kirkwood. I don't know if I've ever gotten a pole position correct.
And having Kirkwood for what you thought was going to be a street race but ended up being an oval and still getting the pole prediction is nutty.
That is pretty wild, yeah. All right, podium. What'd you say, Ben?
I had Herta, Dixon, and Palou.
I had Ericsson, Palou, and Herta, and so we both got Herta correct. The podium was Herta, O'Ward, and Newgarden. So both of us got Herta, and that was it.
Yep.
Then winning number of pit stops. Had I known it was an oval, I would not have said 2. What did you say, Ben?
I put 3, and honestly, it could have been what? Well,
Oh,
I
Ward
don't
was
know.
on 3.
Yeah, because they're just a bunch of yellow flags.
Yeah. So it could have been 3 if Ward was able to hold on for longer.
Yeah.
But it ended up being 4, so neither of us got that point. And that rounds off all of the predictions for the IndyCar season. Let's move on to the Formula One Azerbaijan Grand Prix. To remind everybody, the top 5 was Piastri, Leclerc, Russell, Norris, and Verstappen. What did you say, Ben?
I had Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, and Stroll as my dark horse.
Brutal.
Ooh.
I had Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Verstappen, and Piastri with Alonso as my dark horse. So neither of us got a single one right.
A single one. Hey, you almost had the Leclerc win, kind of.
Sort of. I was on the right track. And then almost the Verstappen 4th. We almost both got that.
Yeah, and if you swap out Hamilton for Russell, I have all the top 5 drivers.
There you go. Sainz almost got 3rd.
Yeah.
But Perez had none of that. Yeah, Alonso actually did also have a good race. I think he finished 6th or something. So
let's see. He finished. Yeah, 6th.
Nice.
This is his best result for a while.
Yeah, barely missed out on the dark horse on that one.
So close.
All right, fastest
Stroll
lap.
did much worse. If it makes you feel better.
It makes me feel so much better. There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Lance Stroll getting a puncture on lap 1.
Did we already talk about Adrian Newey getting signed to Aston Martin?
We did talk about that last week. Well, okay, so we talked about that it was all but confirmed last week, and it has now officially been confirmed. So thank you for reminding me.
It was confirmed.
It was confirmed. All right, fastest lap. What'd you get, Ben?
Fastest lap, I had Piastri.
I had Norris, and it went to Norris. Driver of the day. What'd you say?
I had Hamilton.
I had Leclerc. It went to Piastri, for good reason.
Yeah.
I voted for Norris because he was tearing through the field like nobody's business, but
he did have a great recovery drive.
Piastri makes sense too because of the amount of defending that he had to do against Leclerc, and just absolutely sent it on that move. So I'd say that's deserved too.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to next week's predictions for the Singapore Grand Prix. This one is a street track. And one of my favorite tracks, actually, on the calendar. I'm excited for it. I'm not excited to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch the race, though. Just like I did this week.
Yep. I'm so excited to continue to not do that and just watch it at like 12 after church.
Good stuff, Ben.
Take a little nap.
There you go. Alrighty. Top 5. What do you got, Ben?
I've got Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Russell, and Verstappen with Albon as my dark horse.
I have Norris, Sainz, Piastri, Leclerc, and Russell with Perez as my dark horse. Fastest lap. What are you going to say?
I'm going to give this one to Piastri. Give him another shot.
I'm also giving this one to Piastri.
Ooh.
Driver of the day. What do you got?
I'm all in on Piastri, baby.
And wow, so you got Piastri winning the race, fastest lap, and driver of the day.
Somebody's got to do it.
Love it.
If Piastri wins the race, then he gets driver of the day. If
it's a Piastri win with Norris in second, there's going to be like an explosion at McLaren.
We have to rewrite the papaya rules. Piastri is now favorite driver.
Yeah, someone's going to get... There's going to... Oh... The drama, the sheer drama, and I
want it for the drama.
I've got Norris as driver of the day. I don't know if I said that already. All right, Ben, do you got any words of wisdom for us this week?
Yes, it is again more and more niche. Once the little break comes up after the season, I'll have time to get more wisdom. I promise.
Okay.
But for now, it is don't forget to clean your carpets every once in a while, and I don't mean like vacuuming. I mean like. You can rent a carpet cleaner for not super a lot or borrow one from a friend or something like that. But a carpet cleaner that like puts soapy water into the carpet and then sucks it out and you have to let it dry. It makes such a huge difference. If you think that your carpets are super clean, but you haven't cleaned them for like a year or two. They're not. They're actually, you'd notice such a difference. Even for me, it's month by month because I have a dog. But it makes such a huge difference, and the entire room smells so much better.
This is true.
Plus,
Every
it's
time we get the
satisfying.
carpets cleaned, yeah, it's a good feeling. Walking barefoot on fresh carpet, yeah, it's a good one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you everybody so much for watching and listening to this episode of RevHang. If you enjoyed it, leave a like or a rating on the platform you listened on. It really helps us out. Subscribe or follow if you'd like to see more. If you want to see updated standings for IndyCar and F1 or a calendar of upcoming racing from those series, well, from F1 now, check out our website at revhang.com. If you have a question about racing or about us, hit us up on any socials in the comments or DMs, and we may feature your question on the next show. You can follow Ben on Instagram at BenjiMeetsWorld and or myself at 2n_squared. You can follow the RevHang page on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your media at RevHang Media. We'll be back in a week to talk about the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix, one of the better ones. It was a great race last year. Looking forward to it this year. But until then, I've been Nathan.
And I've been.
Thanks for hanging out.
See you later.